You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Unless you come from another planet and you are not interested in sport at all, you will probably know that on the 26th of December, the traditional Boxing Day test is played between Australia and anyone else who's visiting the country at the time. The big games are, the big games are anyone that turns up. India, Pakistan, New Zealand, did I say England? Yeah, anyhow, who else?
South Africa.
South Africa, of course. And you will know that a man who was synonymous with Australian cricket in Wisdom's top 5 of the best players ever to play our game of Test cricket, and has a stand inaugurated and named after him, which I and 10,000 other people went to the MCG to see his name put up on the stand. You will know that there's a big function coming up on the Boxing Day test. The Shane Warne stand has been inaugurated, and I'm going to introduce Shane's son, Jackson, who is we're going to have a chat about the great legacy that is being inaugurated or started as a result of the tremendous popularity that Shane had, and anything he can do to help the nation as far as their health goes. You might, and I'm not going to embarrass him by asking him about his dad, because it's probably still pretty emotional for him, as it is for all of us. But suffice to say, when you hear him speak, you'll probably think it's Shane. He sounds more like Shane than Shane did, and it's extraordinary. Fortuitous that he does sound like Shane, because people would turn when they hear him speak and think, God almighty. I've been to the MCG and seen the hologram of Shane come out and speak to people out in the locker rooms there, and you think, my God, you could walk up and shake his hand, but you can't, of course. A must-see thing if you go to the MCG, which is universally popular across the world. If people are cricket devotees, come out and look at it. So I'm going to introduce Jackson, and I want to welcome you to You Cannot Be Serious. It's a bittersweet thing to have to be able to mention about your dad and what you and a few others are trying to do for him, and unfortunately we have to speak about him. So welcome, Jackson Warne. Thank you.
Hello, Sammy. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I know it's a sad times to be talking about Dad, but it's also a positive. You know, we're getting to celebrate his life, and we're having, you know, one of the biggest days ever for our family and in Australian cricket by having
the public, Australian sporting public.
Yeah, by being able to celebrate the Shane Warne legacy at what he called his backyard or his office.
Yep.
And he probably thought his legacy was going down as arguably the greatest ever Australian cricketer, the cricket best leg spinner, but it sort of transcended sport again and announced to save lives, which I think he would be so honoured with, and I know for a fact he would not miss it for anything.
You are spot on now, and I know it's only just the 4th of March 2022. It's pretty immediate, but anyhow, as we've that old cliche, times go on, and we just have to get on with it. So, whose idea was it, Jackson, to start this legacy, the Shane Warne Legacy Heart Test? Tell us how it works, what's the idea of it, and how it's going to be implemented, if you can. I've got all the notes here, but I'll let you have a crack at it first.
Of course. I'll try my best.
Yeah.
So this originally started, the idea would have been early last year, just after we obviously got the phone call in the news. And one of our first instinct was, and I don't want to take any of the credit for it as well, because there's lots of work from Helen, Neo, James, Gareth. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that don't usually you see in the media or in the paper, but they're the ones that are working, 24/7, Monday to Sunday, phone calls, emails, contracts. They're doing all of the hardest work, in my opinion. And I think Dad would be just so happy to see that his team that he would have worked with for 20 plus years, that he trusted, because you know how loyal he was with his team. He was always with the same people that now that they're carrying on his legacy, and me, Brooke and Summer and the family get to be the ambassadors for it. It's just unbelievable.
Should have mentioned Brooke and Summer. They're an integral part of this as well. They're his daughters. So the team sat round at some stage and said, we must continue the legacy, not Shane as the cricketer, but make the fact that he was universally a star into something that transcends into the health of the public, because doesn't matter how he died, but it was obviously a health problem, so that's how most people die unless they're in a car accident. So you thought, well, the team will sit round and try and devise something that will be a genuine, lasting contribution to the Australian public, sporting public at large.
Exactly, and you're right. It's such a disease that's killing so many people, a cardiovascular disease, and we thought, well, we don't want anyone else to get the phone call that we received, so how do we turn what was such a negative thing in our lives into a positive and try and save lives while we do it? And that's why we sort of came with the idea to partner with people that can help with checking your hearts and doing your heart test, because we know, especially last year, how many people, when they heard the news, they went, I can't believe that's happened to Dad. I looked at him as a superhero like I did. I looked at him as a superhero or Superman. He was invincible. Nothing could happen to him. So when something like this happens to him, it sort of puts into perspective that this could happen to anybody. And so we just wanted to make sure that if it is possible to get a test that might save your life, whether it be for another 6 months, a year, 2 years, we want to be able to help people do that.
So Jackson, his number was 23. So as a follow-on from those two figures, 23. You'll correct me if any of this is not correct, incorrect. The idea was to test 23,000 people
by the end of the year.
Or pardon?
By the end of the year.
Yes, in a week.
So in the next 2 weeks.
That's
right.
The next
2 weeks.
So as they come to the cricket.
Yep.
Have to turn. There's going to have stations where you can go and you test your heart by putting and it tells you your pulse and it tells you it tells you your star signs if you want to think. And the idea was this euphemistic figure of 23,000 maybe a day or for the test.
Yep. Yeah, so the goal is by the end of the year to have 23 heart tests for all Australians all around Australia, because there's going to be 23 machines at the MCG, and we're hoping for a few thousand a day at the G, but then we're also hoping all around Australia combined would have over 23,000 total.
Do you know how many you've done so far?
I'm not sure how many so far, because we only launched yesterday where the locations were.
And how long would a test take?
4 minutes.
Yeah, so the test actually takes 4 minutes, and it's a non-invasive test, so you don't have to take your clothes off. They don't take any of your blood. You grip these two handlebars. You stand up first, so it takes your height and your weight. You grip these two handlebars, and then you get this compression sleeve around your bicep, around your arm, and then it tracks your BMI, your blood pressure, your heart rate, cholesterol, checks all these things that you can get when you download the app on Sisu. Actually tell you exactly what you need to change, what you need to start doing more, whether it be walking, stop eating, lots of red meat, junk, lose a little bit of weight. It tells you all these things because a cardiovascular disease is actually one of the most preventable in the world, because it happens in your genetics, but it can actually come back to your lifestyle and your habits.
So Sue Stanley, you're across a lot of this, and we've had a discussion about what these tests involve, and you've been familiar with the testing machines, I think, or you've gone into it a bit, have you not?
Yeah, even though they're just very simple tests, I think it's a simple test that probably will be able to pick up something, and I think the word prevention is better than cure, or else the ultimate is not the good thing. So prevention. So if you do get the elevated, whether it be high blood pressure or high cholesterol, it's actually taking control of your own health in having to do something about it. And I just went onto the website, which is the Shane Warne Legacy website, and you actually put in your postcode of where you are, and it actually comes up with obviously a pharmacy. So if you can't get to the MCG, there are obviously others. Like there's two in. Obviously, you've done a deal with Priceline Pharmacy.
Yep.
in Burke Street in West, and also in the Burke Street Mall. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So are they all around Victoria currently?
Yeah, so it's all around Victoria at the moment, and it's all around Australia. They're in mostly price lines, but they can be sort of anywhere.
Yep.
But that's why when you go on the Shane Warne Legacy website, you can actually type in your postcode and it'll tell you what the closest one is.
And if you do get elevated or something does come back, then do something about it.
Exactly. So what CISO have been saying is they say own your numbers, and it's sort of about being accountable because the numbers don't lie. So when you do this test, and if anything's sort of in the red or something that's really urgent that needs to get changed, they actually have the power to recommend you to get another test, which will take a bit of your blood, or recommend you straight to a hospital or to your GP to actually get a further test, which will then help you tell you exactly what it is.
And it's kind of the naive people that won't go to the doctors.
Of course,
maybe those men who don't go to the doctors. So if they're even on the is it on the outskirts of the MCG or is it inside?
It'll be inside.
It'll be inside. So obviously you have to go to the test and get it done.
Of course.
So buy your ticket, get in there, and even if there's a cure or anything, come back later, but get checked because
of course,
obviously if you can find out something, prevention is better than cure.
And that's what it is, because we can't say for sure what would have happened if Dad got this test, but at least he would have been more aware of what was happening inside of his body, and then it could be up to him to make the change or go see a hospital, but at least he would know. And that's all we want to do, because we can't say, yes, this will, 100. We just want to try and give as much awareness possible and give it to everybody for free for a non-invasive test, because we know Australians don't look after we look after our health, but we don't get our hearts checked enough.
Yeah, true.
Very, very important you mentioned that, because we should put not the disclaimer in, but you said we're not trying to, the team are not trying to claim that they're health professionals, and it says that the diagnostic service is not a replacement for professional medical advice. The information we present is for personal information purposes only, with the aim of increasing awareness of personal health. So no one's claiming to be medical doctors of this. We're just giving the team, the legacy is just giving people the benefit of going and getting checked, and if they want to do something with the result, that's up to them, but you're providing the facility to do it.
Yeah, we just want to be able to provide to Australians all around the country the access to actually have the test. Because up until now, if I was wondering what would a heart test include, I'd probably be thinking I have to take my clothes off, I'd have to check my heart rate, maybe take a bit of my blood. I'd actually honestly have no idea what it would involve. So we're just trying to give Australians the peace of mind to tell them that it's a non-invasive, free 4-minute heart test. And literally it could save your life. Or even if you don't get a test because you might be young and healthy, or you've already got one before, at least you can recommend to your friends or to your family, because there's lots of people nowadays walking around with cardiovascular diseases that they are not aware of.
So we're going to put this on You Cannot Be Serious podcast. We're going to do it probably on
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever. Next couple of days.
Just so it's immediate in people's... we have quite a lot of people listen to this.
We'll do it before Boxing Day test.
We'll certainly do it before then. No, we'll give people... So that's how we're just doing a bit of promotion for it. How the media is launching it, or have they launched it?
So we've sort of been drip feeding it over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I think it was just over 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago now, that we launched what the Shane Warne Legacy was going to be about. And we went to the MCG and we were sort of envisioning what we're going to be able to do there, and it's all happening a lot in the last 3 weeks. But then 2 weeks ago we announced that it's going to be for free heart tests for Australians. And then yesterday we announced we can get them, and we've sort of been demonstrating what the tests involved, who our partners are, and then we sort of announced our first initiative is going to be at the MCG. And I think Dad would be so happy to know that what he conquered, at the G, and all of his achievements he achieved there, that now, nearly 15, 16 years later, at that same place he got all these achievements, he's going to be saving lives.
And I presume that the medical profession have been, I couldn't think of a reason why they wouldn't be behind this, because it's they've been right behind it and complimentary of what you're doing.
Yeah, we've got full support of all the media and Channel 7, Cricket Australia, all these people that are just helping boost the awareness of the Shane Warne Legacy, is helping Australia save lives.
And it says here, within 12 months, you're hoping to have tested 500,000 people.
Yeah, so I'm sure, like you, Sammy, you can probably hear Dad saying, come on, mate, we can bump up those numbers. So this year...
Have a crack.
Find a way, not give up. So he'd be saying all those things. So that's why our goal, we wanted to be to get 23,000 this year, because we know it's just under a month to do that. But then next year, we want to try and get around 500,000, then the year after $1 million.
So
since you started this campaign of obviously getting checks since your father passed,
Yeah.
I know 4 people that categorically said to me that they had actually gone and got health checked with their heart and everything, and 4 of them all had blockages within their heart.
Yeah.
And
as a result of
going actively, they never would have done it. And 4
Yeah.
of them, those 4 people are here today.
Exactly.
Because of that, and I think that's the importance of what some people just don't understand is that we know how we look on the outside. We can look and see how our muscles and put our biceps bigger, but we don't know what's happening. It doesn't matter how fit, how old, or anything you are. What's happening on the inside. So I think the importance, and I think it's a great initiative and great campaign that everyone should be going out there and getting checked.
No, thank you. And I've heard so many stories like that, especially when they heard the news. They went and got tested. Now they're alive, and that's why. There's an increase of Australians getting their hearts checked by 62% last year when they found out the news, and then they actually called it the Shane Warne halo effect, because so many people last year would go into a hospital or to their GP or get a heart test somewhere. So why are you here today? And they went, well, I've heard of Shane Warne passed away of a heart attack. I would like to get my heart checked. And I can't tell you how many messages I get every single day saying, because of your dad, I'm alive.
Absolutely.
So you're very well versed in it all, and you've got all the right stats and answers to give. I suppose it's a bit of a trial for you, because you're the person they want to speak to. You're Shane's son, and you've got to go to the promotions and speak about it. It must be just, I know you love doing it because it's a cause that you want to be involved in. It must be a bit hard for you to just keep speaking about it, I suppose, although you're a very confident, articulate young man. Great credit, and
Thank
so
you.
is Brooke and Summer, to your mum and dad. But it must be a bit hard. You must be weary mentally when you get home and think, oh, I've got to do it again. Not really got to do it again, but I've got to speak about
I think he's trying
my
to
dear
say,
old dad.
do you like it?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say, and I think everything sort of changed for me. It sort of changed twice. Obviously, it changed after the State Memorial, because last year in March we were just doing so much work for that State Memorial and public speaking and interviews and media that I sort of got, after the State Memorial, really comfortable talking about Dad and being comfortable talking about on camera and talking about him, and doesn't really make me emotional anymore, because I'm really, really proud of him. And it's only been a testament to how hard he worked and how successful he was, that over the last 2 years, how much has happened to people to honour him. You know, the Shane Warne stand, the stuff that happened all around the world to honour him. And so the second part of what changed when I was talking about him was this legacy. It's sort of, I'll always keep talking about Dad forever, but since the legacy's been launched, it's sort of given me a purpose to why I'm talking about him, because why I'm talking about him is to save lives, to not let Australians get the same phone call we got, and to help people. Like, you guys know how much Dad always wanted to help people, and that's literally all he did.
He did.
He just was always helping people.
And I've, over the 30, 40 years I've been in the media, and 25 years in the footy show, I've done a lot of things and been to a lot of events, but that memorial thing at the that event at the MCG, hosted so well by Eddie Maguire on that tribute day, went around the world to about 2.5 billion people.
Yeah.
Was extraordinary. One of the great memories of my very sombre, pissy little life. That was fantastic. And so have you? I presume you've obviously seen the hologram at the MCG.
I saw. I'm pretty sure we saw the hologram as a family.
That would have been tough.
Yeah, it was. I think that was probably one of the hardest things we had to do last year, because it was, especially for Brooke and Summer. I'm a bit different, because as soon as I finished school, I was always living with Dad, but I sort of got all of his toughness from him, and I was always really resilient, and I was just really strong. So when I get put in those situations, I sort of already know how to act, and I can deal with it a little bit better. But when we saw the hologram, it was all like, we just wanted to get up there and give him a hug. Like, it was so accurate. His mannerisms are the exact same. How he speaks was the exact same. It was literally just like
You
seeing
speak
him and you
the
just...
exact way he speaks. That's amazing. If I was,
Thank you,
wasn't
Sammy.
looking at you, I would think that you...
thank you,
Just
Sammy.
speak to me. And I tell you what,
Yeah.
you have even taken over for him. I don't think we'll mention what the make of the car is, but it's sitting out the front here, and I saw him having that car tricked up a little, just a little facial stuff put on it. A panel beater, I won't mention his name either.
Yes.
But you've taken over that, and if you
thank
drive
you, Sammy.
anything like he does, it probably wouldn't be sitting there. It'd be impounded. No, it's fantastic. And it's good that you can enjoy the spoils of what just what your dad mentioned.
Yeah.
That it is, and I was down at the. I was down at the Capitol the other day. The first time I've been, I had to go down there for a reason, the golf club, and as soon as I drove in the gates, I just the memories of that, just going in there. The only times I played there was with... I might make myself emotional, let alone talking to you. I don't want to make you emotional. It's just...
That's okay.
it's just amazing. Is there any... What else can we say about this? I don't want to ask you about... I'm going to ask you about...
Ask whatever you want. Ask whatever you want.
People in the street must that you meet, and from all over the world... I don't know where you've been out of Australia since your dad passed, but people must just embrace you, mate. And they must just say the amount of condolences and greetings they give you must be overwhelming.
I get a lot of hugs from... ladies or females like around there in between their 40s and 60s, like lots of mums that just really when they see me, they're like, oh, Jackson, I really want to give you a hug, either because they've lost their partner to a heart attack or they lost their mum or their dad from a heart attack. Like, it happens so often that they just feel like they've grown really close to me over the last 18 months. And I've been trying to think about it for a long time, because Dad always used to say to me, he's like, oh, how do these people feel like they just know me when I don't know them, but they feel like they know me? And I'm like, Dad, it's because they grew up with you. They saw you when you were 19, 20, 21 years old, overweight, chubby, and then they see you being a full-on parent to 3 kids, a great father, great athlete, just doing all these amazing things. So they saw you go through life. And then that's sort of how I'm thinking about these people. They must have seen me when I was really young or I was born, and they've sort of seen me develop into a young man, if that's what you want to call me, and they just feel like they know me, so they just want to talk to me and say, look, your dad was a legend, and because of him, I do X, Y, Z. And
your mum must be very proud of you, 3 of you too, as well.
Yeah.
And, Shane, like, things don't work out sometimes, but she must be extremely proud of you as well.
Yeah, and
keep
it's...
in contact with her.
Yeah, I talk to Mum every day, and she sort of gets forgotten about in all of this, but she was a big part of this, my mum as well, and she has been there for us since day dot, and she's just been there always for us, making sure we're always okay. But obviously it's sad what's happened, but this has just brought everyone together, and it's sad that this is what had to happen for us to come closer. But even extended family, sisters, like, we're all a really, really tight unit because of this. And I think that's one thing that when someone passes, it brings everybody together.
And your granddad and grandmum? Yes,
they say, Keith says to say hello.
Yeah, good on him.
And Nanny Bridge,
When you were growing up, you only knew Dad as Dad. At what stage did you think that this guy's pretty much a superstar? Like, was there a moment in life when you just sort of thought, wow?
I always knew, like, even since I was little, that he was like somebody, because everywhere we'd go, there'd either be people asking for autographs or photos, or it'd always be getting out of like a restaurant or a hotel and getting, the best service possible from them, or always making room if there was a restaurant was full or something. Yeah, always. I knew we were being treated really, really well. But Dad always taught me, like, to always be humble, never show off, just don't do any of that stuff. Just say thank you, always have manners, say please, be respectful. And I think as I started getting older and started going to school, when people would come to school say, oh, can you get your dad to sign this autograph? Or school teachers saying, oh, can you, ask your dad to sign this shirt for me or this hat? So I sort of, as I got older, was more aware, but it wasn't really till 13, 14, 15 years old that you actually are aware of how big he was, and it sort of wasn't until the internet where...
And the benefits that you got from knowing all the superstars and seeing them. And
well, it's like, for example, being able to call, and I hate name dropping, but we were just in Coldplay for the Perth concert.
Well,
and
I
it's
was over
like
there.
how... Yeah,
I was over there when they were playing.
Oh, did you go?
At, James Brayshaw's wedding.
Yes.
And we were on Rottnest Island trying to get the ferry out when Coldplay, we couldn't get there in time. I had a ticket to go.
Yeah.
And I know that people went and said that the chap who, I can't think of his name.
Chris Martin,
sang a song about Shane.
Yeah.
And how spine-tingling must that be around the world that people do that. And I've said often, he's revered around all the cricket playing countries in the world, and there's not many of them that don't, besides Russia and maybe America and not many others. Maybe the Baltic states, I don't know. But how to be revered and have things, the famous entertainers sing about you and all, it must be just spine-tingling.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many moments that have happened over the last 2 years that people you just don't even could comprehend that knew who Dad was or knew what he was successful in, that just reached out or sent flowers. But going back to the Coldplay concert, like being able to call Chris a friend, and that's just because of how candid Dad and Chris met and how their relationship developed. And
I know how it developed.
Yes, in a lift.
Jackson.
Yes,
I know a lot of good stories about how that developed.
please tell.
No.
But that was like being able to call Chris a friend, because I remember the first year that we ever brought a real Christmas tree was actually when Chris took us Christmas tree shopping in 2016. And Dad was always like, come on, mate, no, we just want a fake one with the big fake snow. It doesn't smell, doesn't leave mess. And then Chris was like, come on, mate, you need a real one. So then we end up going Christmas shopping for a Christmas tree. And
Where was that? Where?
That was in Brighton on the Peen Highway. We just rocked up to some corner Christmas tree shop there, and they just were like, what? And we bought a Christmas tree, and it was just to show like how cool and unique their friendship was and how it developed. And it was just so genuine, and they just loved each other so much that out of Chris's heart, he wanted to write and sing a song for him. And I was trying to think back to, like, I think artists and singers sort of give us a glimpse into their life by their songs. Like, a lot of singers are singing songs about what they've gone through or what they're going through or their stories. And for Chris to be able to sing a song that was so personal and intimate, it sort of gave us a glimpse to Australians and people around the world into their relationship. And yeah, it's just a testament to how hard Dad worked and how relatable he was. Like, he was always being able to talk to me, and I saw it all the time, where we'd be talking to either politicians, captains, all these elite people, but he could still speak to the people in the smokers at Crown at 2 a.m. He could still speak to the Uber, diverse. He could still speak to the Uber drivers, and he'd be speaking in the exact same way, in the exact same time, with the exact same mannerisms. And then I think that's why everyone could relate to him, because he was just a human being.
And just in case people got the wrong idea about, I could know a couple of things about Chris Martin and Shane. That's had people often ask me, and they same about Eddie Maguire. Did he take drugs? I said, I'll tell you, he never took drugs. He never drank to excess. He never did any antisocial things that would get you into trouble. And
lots.
So in case you think I'm alluding to any of that sort of stuff, that's absolutely not.
And I know exactly what you're talking about, because so many people thought, wow, Shane Warne, beers, what party, whatever, but it actually could not be more wrong. No. Like, he was so anti-drug.
He was.
Like, it didn't really want me to drink till I was 18. Like, he really wanted the best for me and was so anti all of that. And there'd be so many times, and he'd give me so many examples of friends he knew that did, and he would be like, that is a good example, and that's the exact reason why I never want you to do it. He was so anti that all the time.
So we've got you in here primarily. We will get back to this, just if there's anything more to mention about the heart test, the Shane Warne Legacy heart test. But if you need a better recommendation of why you should do this on behalf of the late Shane Warne, I can resonate with being. I used to take, when I was with Shane, and I'd introduce him to some of my friends who were enamoured by him, and he didn't know him from a bar of soap, and every one of them, to a man and a woman, said, what a man that is. He was genuine interested in what we were talking about. He engaged. He didn't say, shit, get me away from this. He was fantastic with them, and that's every single one of them said, what a person. He looked interested and he spoke to them, and when they'd finished he said, it's a pleasure. And so that's why he was one of the reasons why he's a great person. I know we're waxing lyrical about it, but why not?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, because there's been so many people that have said exactly what you just said, that he was always so genuine and so honest 100% of the time. And I always remember him saying to me, never try and be someone you're not. And that's why I think everyone resonates with him, because he was always honest. He was always himself. He was a larrikin, like Australian people called him. And you knew what you saw in the media is, he was always himself. And the media was always against him and tried to make him someone he wasn't a lot of the times, but he was always a father of three and just passionate about life.
So just finally, before we recap on why actually we are here, have you been overseas to any extent to any of the games, or have you felt the love overseas at all? Places? Have you been over in the last couple of years over there?
Yeah, Brooke and Summer all went to England last year on the holiday that was already booked and planned for, and we thought we were a bit 50-50 with it. We were like, well, should we go? Is it the right thing to do? And then we all sort of were like, well, what would Dad want us to do? And we're like, well, it's pretty obvious he would want us to be happy and, do what we had organised and honour his memory, and so that's what we did. And it was one of the best holidays ever, and the support we got from England people, because we went to the 100 London Spirit, or the 100 cricket. It's the new format over there, and it was where they bowled 100 balls, and he was captain and coach of one of the teams. And we didn't get to go there in 2021 because of the COVID lockdowns. But when we went there in 2022, all of the players said, mate, he was unbelievable to work with, and there were a minute of silences and photos and everything over in England, and it's just the reception we got all around the world was awesome. Uncle Jace went to India, and there was memorable moments at the Rajasthan Royals. I know Brooke went to England as well, and I think it's where they play the second test. I think it was Old Trafford, and she went there, just her and Alex, and she went up to one of the security guards and she said, look, this is going to sound really, really bizarre, and you probably won't believe me, but I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to say it. And he's like, okay, what is it? Are you okay? And she's like, well, my name's Brooke Warne and my dad's Shane Warne, and he used to play here all the time, and I was too young enough to, get to see him play. Is there any chance you could just give me a tour of the Oval or show me some photos or memorabilia if there's some of him? Like, I would be really grateful and appreciative if you could help me. And he's just started crying and said, of course I can. It'd be my honour.
I'm going to stop this soon. You make me emotional.
Sorry,
seriously.
Sammy. Sorry.
How bizarre is that?
Yeah, and
got his son here. That is fantastic. Yeah,
sorry,
go on.
Sammy.
So they took him around.
Yeah, and so the security guard took Brooke and took Alex around, and he was with him for I think maybe 2 or 3 hours, just showing him all around the Oval and saying, look, this is what your dad used to do. I was actually a groundsman here and watched him play all the time, and it was just those type of people that Dad actually could hit home to. Like, he hit home to everybody, and he was just a great man. Sorry, guys.
No,
sorry.
I think you've touched. Not many people have brought Sam Newman down.
Sorry.
We're going to say it again. Just going to recap. There's the Boxing Day test is about having your heart tested. The Shane Warne Legacy heart test. It'd be all available online and Google. If you can't follow what has been said here, well, you should go back to school, get a concentration scholarship to work it out. We know it'll be a great success, and you'll be front and centre there at the Boxing Day test, and I hope you can cope with it all, because they'll have cameras in your face, and why wouldn't they? And mate, you should lap it up, and you're a very fine.
Thank you, Sammy. Yeah, it'll be a great day with all the families going. I know my grandparents are going, uncles and aunties, like everybody I know is going, friends and family. So it's going to be
and you'll all have your hats.
We'll all have our floppy hats. We'll all have our bucket hats, and it's going to be a great day to celebrate a life of a great human.
Now, I went to purchase one of those hats online and
Yes.
they are sold out.
I know, unfortunately, they've actually sold out twice. And I think as of today, if you go onto the Legacy website, you can actually buy one for pre-order. Because the demand's been so high,
Incredible.
that we were actually blown away by thinking we didn't really know if people were going to buy it or wear them, but it turns out everyone wants to honour Dad, and sort of what Neil Danaher does in the AFL with the blue beanies. We would love to do something like that during the summer with Dad's bucket hats and floppies.
So get on the website and order it now for end of January maybe?
Yeah,
for
around
delivery?
mid to late January, early Feb. I think if you go onto the Shane Warne Legacy website now for pre-order.
So Sue Stanley OAM is going to finish what I was trying to say.
Sam's a bit too emotional at the moment.
No, that's
So-
okay. I apologise. Sorry.
Thank him.
Thank you so much, Jackson, for coming in. It was absolutely, Jackson Warne. I think it's a great initiative, what you're doing. Thank you so much for coming into You Cannot Be Serious and bringing a tear to Sam Newman's eye, what a legend. And hope you and everyone else has a happy Christmas, and everyone get down to the MCG and get tested.
Awesome. And thank you guys. Thank you for having me. And apologies for making you guys cry. Hopefully it was happy tears. But yeah, thank you
Very
for having
happy
me.
tears.
It's been great. Thank you.